3 years after a Colorado law went into effect, there's now a very public outcry that's growing louder among law enforcement here in southern Colorado. It's over House Bill 19-1263. It made having 4 grams of fentanyl a misdemeanor instead of a felony. We've represented that amount here. With sugar, this teaspoon is worth 4 grams. And just for context, this much can kill most people. But it's this, 4 grams, that amount to the fentanyl fight. 4 grams that some say should be treated in very different ways. July 11th, 2021. The summer sun had long set and the city slowed to its slumber. Except for one prearranged meeting at midnight, plans were just about to reach their intended destination. A Rockrimmon hotel, the very spot where street drugs would be exchanged. Agents from Homeland Security and Colorado Springs officers got wind of it. A red car would be coming from California with the goods. The driver would get out of the car and reach for a package in the trunk. That's when agents and officers surrounded the car. 45-year-old Oswaldo Beltran would be arrested for it. Homeland Security officers say Beltran admitted the package contained blue happy birthday pills. There weren't just a few. There were 13,000 blue pills, according to a Colorado Springs Vice Narcotics and Intelligence officer. They were marketed as oxycodone, but laced with the very deadly fentanyl, much like these pills. Beltran was eventually charged with 2 counts of possessing a controlled substance with intent to distribute. We interviewed Oswaldo Beltran from his jail cell.
My name is Heather Skold. I'm a reporter with KRDO here in Colorado Springs, and this is our translator, Dre. My first question to you is, are you a drug dealer?
No, I'm not a drug trafficker.
His version of the events are quite different.
July 11th, I was on my way here to Colorado. Me and a couple of people. Then I parked at a hotel. The people I was with got out to get a room in the hotel. When the police arrived, there were a lot of police cars. They took me out of the car, and in the car, they found the drugs.
He claims he had no idea the pills were even in the car.
You knew they were in your car?
No, I didn't know until after they arrested me. The car wasn't mine. The drugs were in a car that wasn't mine. I've never done anything like this before. This thing that happened to me, I don't know. They had me like bait. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't even know why I'm here. I don't know what they brought. I don't know how much drugs there were.
Beltran, though, acknowledges he made a mistake with his prior cocaine abuse in Mexico and trusting people he had recently met in California.
What things would you change if you could?
That main decision. I swear to God and on my kids and on everything that I love, I've never used the drug. I wish I never would have met these people.
The fact that fentanyl is deadly is not a new message, but the sheer number of people who are dying from the street drug is nothing short of alarming. This graph illustrates where we're headed. Back in 2015, 7 people died. 2016, 15 people died. 2019 was a real eye-opener. That's when 21 people died from an overdose here in El Paso County. That number more than doubled the following year, and in 2021, that stands to also more than double. The county coroner who compiles this data tells me that nearly 100 people died of a fentanyl overdose. His data for last year is not yet complete. Fentanyl, here in the light green, became the leading cause of drug overdose deaths, overtaking methamphetamine and heroin. It's in 2019 that fentanyl's presence is undeniable. That was the same year that House Bill 1263 was authored at the state capitol. One of its sponsors, Senator Pete Lee of Colorado Springs. If anyone had 4 grams or less of fentanyl, it would be a misdemeanor instead of a felony, as it had been in Colorado. House Bill 1263 designated $120,000 for community substance abuse programs to treat those who are charged. The bill passed and was signed into law by Governor Polis.
But that law alone, according to law enforcement here, is contributing to a spike in deaths.
Thanks for joining us today.
Colorado Springs Mayor John Suthers, leaders from El Paso County, Colorado Springs Police, and the District Attorney's Office in one accord.
Laws can be changed, and so that particular legislator or anybody else that was supportive of that bill at that time, it's time to get on board and fix it.
I later sat down with District Attorney Michael Allen.
We've got the decriminalization effort. We've got fentanyl flooding into our borders. And then we've got no commitment from the legislature or our state government to make sure that people have access to and affordable treatment or rehabilitation efforts. It's made our community less safe. Marijuana is not the same thing as fentanyl, but yet fentanyl is being treated the same way as marijuana, methamphetamine, cocaine, all these different kinds of drugs, and not all of them have the same effect on people like fentanyl does.
According to the DA, 90 to 95% of cases involve some sort of plea agreement, which Allen says is why the harsher punishment is necessary to get cooperation and more information up the drug chain. That plea agreement is exactly what happened in the case of Oswaldo Beltran. He ended up striking a plea deal. Pleading guilty to one of his charges, the other was dropped. He will now serve no longer than 5 years in the Department of Corrections for those 13,000 fentanyl pills. Despite repeated requests for comment to both Senator Pete Lee and his aide, neither would respond. The most recent was after a story we aired on fentanyl in May of 2021 when he wrote, "The death toll of fentanyl is alarming and tragic. There is a lack of coordinated law enforcement response to the supply side issue of fentanyl."